don't understand. You have the Miraculous of the Peacock. Why don't you create a Senti monster to get us out of here?
First of all, don't call them that.
Adrian's been thought to be a Sentibeing since Season 3. The Senti-Adrian theory was initially very unpopular in the Miraculous community, but over the course of Season 4, much more proof came out, and was basically confirmed by the time Season 5, Episode 24 rolled around. But why are Adrian, Felix, and Kagami Sentibeings? Of course, Adrian being a Sentibeing is the catalyst for the entire plot of the show, but what does it mean to be a Sentibeing? Sentibeings are created by, and can be destroyed by, the Peacock Miraculous. This does not mean, however, that a Sentibeing created to be something is not that thing. It's been confirmed multiple times by the writers that if a Sentibeing is created to be a human, that Sentibeing is a human, and carries all the properties of one. Unlike Grimwalkers, which decidedly do not have organic functions such as heartbeats. Going off the fact Emily was seen visibly pregnant, and both Adrian and Felix existed as babies, we can infer that when Emily aggressed, Colt Fathom, and presumably Kagami's father, used the Peacock Miraculous, they created a Sentibeing as a fertilized fetus in the mother's womb. Since the Peacock Miraculous was broken, Emily, Colt, and Kagami's father went into a coma, and the latter two were pronounced dead, while Gabriel kept Emily alive in a stasis chamber. While this makes sense, why from a writing standpoint are they Sentibeings? What significance does this have on their characters and their relationship with the holders of the amok? Kagami's amok is the ring which bears her family crest. It's implied that at some point her parents gave her the ring after conditioning her to obey them, just as an uncolored dog will avoid an electric fence. When her conditioning is broken, Tsurugi takes back the ring.
If I have to force you into obedience for that, Kagami, then I will. You are no longer worthy of our family crest.
A vain act, since Felix had swapped it with a fake. He gives her back the real amok, and Kagami is in control of herself again. And yeah, I get how toxic this is, and I've made an appendix video about Felix, which is out now. Felix's story is very simple. His father was blatantly abusive and cruel to Felix, taking advantage of his bearing of the amok. After his dad finally dies, Felix takes the amok and is finally in control of his own life, which brings into the equation. To clear up the confusion, this ring is Felix's amok, these two rings are Adrian's amok, this ring is Kagami's amok, this ring is not an amok, and neither are any of these rings. Okay, so until Season 3, Episode 23, Gabriel had possessed both of the twin rings. After Felix stole it though, he didn't appear to ever use it. Despite holding an amok, the Sentibeing will only obey the bearer if the bearer wills it, which is not clear Felix ever did. Both rings, since they're the same amok, can control Adrian. This is seen in Season 5, when both Natalie and Gabriel are wearing the twin rings and fight over control of Adrian.
Whatever he wants.
Above all, he has the obligation to follow orders.
We'll see about that.
Felix stole the ring for leverage over Gabriel. Felix knew he was a Sentibeing, due to his dad's abuse and calling him a, quote, Senti monster. Felix knew from the beginning that he was created using the magic of the Peacock Miraculous, and that the owner of that Miraculous was his uncle. Felix wanted the Peacock Miraculous because the owner of the Peacock can destroy any Sentibeing at any time, just as a conscious AI would do anything it could to neutralize the threat of humans turning it off. So too does Felix seek the Peacock Miraculous, as he cannot assure his own continued survival without direct control over it. Felix, by controlling the Peacock Miraculous, has fully broken free from the nature of being a Sentibeing. The nature of Sentibeings is to be controlled. When a Sentibeing becomes the bearer of their own amok, they are free. The twin rings are so important to Gabriel not just because of the memory of Emily, but because controlling Adrian is so important to him. We see 3 different types of control by the parents of Senti children. All are different brands of an authoritarian parenting style. For Kagami, her parents have conditioned her to follow their exact will and always obey. This kind of cold control can be enforced through harsh punishments in the home. By giving Kagami her amok, they are, in a way, taunting her. She knows she physically can do anything she pleases, but won't, due to the reaction of her parents should she step out of line. The second kind of authoritarian parenting we see is Colt Fathom's abusive parenting. Colt would physically and verbally abuse Felix, using the amok and his identity as a Sentibeing to hurt him. This abuse deeply affected Felix's development and only stopped when his father died. Amelie, for her part, was a bystander to this abuse, and it's not even entirely clear she knows Felix is a Sentibeing. The third kind we see is through Gabriel's parenting. Gabriel too is an abusive parent, but it is an emotional and spiritual abuse. The fact he is a sentibeing is actively hidden from Adrian, and his ability to disobey his father causes harm to his own mental health along with interpersonal relationships. Gabriel, though, is also a neglectful parent, so he's often not even thinking about Adrian. This is how he can be Cat Noir while still being a Sentibeing. The way these parents interact with their Senti children parallels the feeling of many people whose parents employ these methods. The inability, literal or not, to disobey one's authoritarian parents no matter what is felt by many with authoritarian parents. This is at the core of what it means to be a Sentibeing. Adrian is a victim of parental abuse in a way that is not obvious from the outside, to the point where many of Gabriel's peers, and even some parents watching the show, may not even see Gabriel's parenting as abuse. Gabriel's parenting is, however, without a doubt, abusive. When Gabriel finds out Adrian is Cat Noir, he knows he's won.
Cat Noir, my own son? The Miraculous will soon be mine!
The fight between Hawkmoth and Cat is over before it even starts, since he can use his position as Adrian's father, the holder of his amok, to akumatize him. Gabriel physically and emotionally abuses Cat until the perfect moment where the Akuma will have the most emotional distress to feed on. Combined with the Miraculous of Destruction, this created the most powerful akumatized being ever. But why does Cat Blanc not immediately blast Ladybug with the Mega Cataclysm if Senti have to obey their amok holder? Adrian and Cat Noir are two different people. This is most clearly shown in Catwalker, where Adrian activates the Cat Miraculous not as himself, but as Adrian. This is because Adrian is a mask. Not only that, Cat Noir's identity too is a mask. This individual's two identities, Adrian and Cat Noir, can be seen through the lens of manic depression, where Adrian is the depressive state and Cat is the manic state. This can be seen when the individual is akumatized, not as Cat Noir, but as Adrian. Ephemeral is a very different Akuma than Cat Blanc. Ephemeral is a very visibly depressed, hopeless pawn in Shadow Noir's plan. In direct contrast to Cat Blanc's disobeying of Hawkmoth, Ephemeral does exactly what he's told and nothing more. When Cat Blanc disobeys Hawkmoth, his hypomanic identity of Cat Noir is being fought by his Sentibeing nature. This is where things get interesting. It's known that when a cataclysm hits a Sentibeing, the Sentibeing is not destroyed, but becomes wildly unstable. Cat Blanc is a very complex being. As human, Sentibeing, miraculous wearer, and Akuma victim, the cataclysm affects him in a way that makes him extremely emotionally unstable. This can be seen in his interactions with Ladybug, wildly swinging from deep depression to mania during their battle, his two identities fighting each other as the cataclysm further destabilizes his mental well-being. Cat Blanc is a rebellion of what it means to be a Sentibeing. Cat Blanc and Felix both free themselves from the shackles of Sentibeinghood, but contrast to Felix, who accepts the premise that as a Sentibeing his nature is to be controlled and therefore acquires anything that could control him, Cat Blanc rejects this assumption at base premises that the nature of Sentibeings is to be controlled. Cat Blanc destroys both his amok and the Peacock Miraculous itself, and through the magic of the Miraculous and the Akuma, lives. Every child under an authoritarian parent is eventually free from them. The question only is how the individual deals with the emotional issues the parent instilled in them through their parenting style. Felix's obsession with his own amok and the Peacock Miraculous, and Cat Blanc's violent destruction of his surroundings, serve as representations of how a person deals with the issues that this style of parenting has given them after their parents are gone. As of the end of Season 5, Adrian is still unaware that he is a Sentibeing. Kagami is aware she's a Sentibeing, as is Felix, and they are all free from their parents. Adrian and Kagami were both freed by their partners handing them their own amoks, a representation of how interpersonal relationships can help heal childhood trauma and make one feel worthy of love. This is the freeing of oneself as a Sentibeing. One weird thing you may notice though is that Kagami is dating Felix, the holder of the Peacock Miraculous. This relationship dynamic is highly problematic, and I've covered it in a companion video, which you can watch now.